Hello, my YouTube family. This is the OG Crypto New Jack coming at you with some juicy news. But before I begin, let me say I'm not a financial advisor. Anything you see or hear in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. Remember to do your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making investment decisions. Okay, we're going to begin looking at the total crypto market cap. It is coming in at $1.1 trillion, and it is down 0.7%. Coming in at number one is Bitcoin at 26,125. Coming in at number two is Ethereum, 1,667. And I believe XRP is coming in at number 5 at 52 cents. Taking a look at crypto bubbles, it looks like it's mostly red, and AKT is the top gainer at 10.4%, and Hex looks like it's the biggest loser, down 10.3%. The crypto fear and greed index is coming in at fear at 38. Okay, shout out here to the digital asset investor and to Megan. They write, the Brics plan to destroy the dollar. It's not if, but when. Let me play the video.
Now, the reason that's important is they hate America. And if you can get that picture, plus you have the Belt and Road Project, you have most of the world that's not, I'm going to hope you don't get censored with me saying this, but the world that they're going into is a non-Christian world. I'm not being, religious and all this. I'm not being political. I'm saying it's, Muslim, Hindu, Islam, and all this. So this is a very big move. It's because the world, who is not white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, Christian, like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, England, they're joining up against the Western currency called the dollar. And so the Brics is not if, it's only when. Jim Rickards says it best. It's not if, it's when they switch to gold. That's what they're saying. I agree with him.
Okay, and you know what? That looks like it's gearing up because Brics is happening tomorrow, actually. Okay, moving on here, digital perspectives. And he writes, this is China's bear stearns moment has arrived. The dominoes are beginning to fall on the global economic stage. The BRICS summit in 5 days, which is actually happening tomorrow. And that's in regards to the Watcher Guru's comment. Says, just in, Chinese property giant Evergrande files for bankruptcy. And that probably had something to do with why the crypto took a dump recently. Okay, moving on from there. Digital perspectives again, right? Number one, U.S. drops gold standard. Number two, U.S. goes on a petrodollar agreement. Number three, Saudi Arabia drops the petrodollar agreement. Number four, U.S. adopts XRP as new liquidity tool for a new financial system. Fifth, number five, this has always been about the depth of the petrodollar. And Ripple's XRP writes the de-dollarization through Brics. We will see the need for a new liquidity system in the West. And let me play this video.
What's up, everybody? This is Ripples in Wales. So today, Brics, what's it all about? It's about de-dollarization. The Brics nations are about to circumvent the IMF, the World Bank, and the SWIFT system with their own systems. What are those systems? They are the AIIB, the Asian Investment Infrastructure Bank, which will replace the need for the IMF and the World Bank loans, and they have replaced the need for the use of SWIFT by using their own system called CIPS, CIPS. Okay, the end result is the de facto no need for the dollar. It's de-dollarization. It isn't the use of an interledger protocol yet or XRP or anything to do with that. It is destabilizing the dollar because now the Brics nations don't need to go to the West for loans through the IMF and World Bank. They don't need to use the West system, which is SWIFT, for payments and transport. They've got their own infrastructure built out. Jim Rickards has told you about this. Ross Vandermeer has told you about this. So it's going to speed up the need for de-dollarization. And how is the West going to react to that? I propose what they're about to do is the West is likely to have to adopt a new liquidity tool in between central banks, IMF, ECB, World Bank, in order to do any trade with the East, with the Brics nations. And why would they want to do trade with the East? Simple. BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative. China's infrastructure, the Silk Road 2.0, will be coming straight into the Western countries. And the G20 want to use that. They don't want to be cut out of investments from the East because the East is a growing economy. So in order to do trade with them, they won't be able to use a dollar system because it won't be accepted. So they'll have to bring a new tool for liquidity. So the West is going to adopt a new tool for liquidity provisions. And what is that tool for liquidity? Well, we can hypothesize that it might be XRP to replace the need for that dollar liquidity tool in their system. That makes sense? I hope that's good.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I believe is right on the target. Okay, moving on, digital perspectives. Brics building their own international telecommunications payment system. Shout out to Weezy as well. This is absolutely fascinating. Jim Rickards says Brics is creating their own telecommunication and payment rails. August 22nd will be the big day. No more SWIFT. He put out 2 videos. This is the first one.
And I read in the piece you sent me about a submarine telecommunications cable that they're setting up. I mean, do you have any more detail on that you can hear? I mean, that's just
I actually know a lot about it. But they've built their own fiber optic submarine cable. They call it Brics cable. And because the U.S. is very good at tapping these things, I actually did a job once where I had to figure out all the global telecommunications in the world through cable. Is a long story. But there's something called CWME, which is C is Southeast Asia, We is Western Europe, and me is Middle East. So CWME is basically the cable system that connects Asia and London. And then there's a separate one that goes from London to the United States. I know where it goes. I can't say, but it has a nice home in the United States. And I know where the Middle East choke points are. And again, I won't say those. But the point is, if you cut that cable at one of those choke points, or you go off in somewhere in the Mediterranean and cut that cable, you shut down internet communications between Europe and Asia, like in a heartbeat, and by extension, the United States. More sophisticated version is to tap them. Easier said than done. Every now and then the internet will go out and go, oh, yeah, there's some problem with the internet. It's like, well, no, you're tapping the cable and it'll be back up in a couple of hours. So the Brics know this, and they are laying their own cables. Now, these are said than done in terms of protecting them, but they want to have encrypted, secure communications and payment channels. Again, they've been screwed over by the West. We kicked them out of SWIFT. We kicked them out of, other interbank payment systems. They ended Visa. The Visa's no good in Russia. MasterCard's no good in Russia. The banks can't transact in dollars, certainly. Okay, this is the 12th largest economy in the world. It's the largest landmass in the world. It's the largest nuclear arsenal in the world, et cetera. But you're saying you can't be part of the international payment system. Well, there's a simple solution to that, which is build your own. And that's what they're doing.
Exactly what they're doing. And here is the other half of that video.
The Brics, what they've done, this is part of the brilliance, they've opted out of the exchange market. They're like, because normally if the dollar's getting weaker, you're getting stronger. That's bad for exports. It's bad for export-related jobs, et cetera. And it's currency wars. That was my first book, Currency Wars. But by defining their currency by weight of gold, not dollar amount, but by weight of gold, they're out of the foreign exchange market. Yeah, so they can just sit back and watch the show.
Exactly. Okay, moving on here. Subjective views of this: confirmed Brics is shaping new multipolar global order. Brics summit, foreign ministers breakfast meeting. Let me play a video.
Of the non-aligned movement. I believe this summit is equally of historic significance, because I believe it's going to mark the turning point in terms of announcing in a very firm manner and a very loud manner the arrival of the Global South, working together as a collective and being the architects of shaping a new global order, a multipolar global order that is inclusive, that is representative, and where we leave no one behind in the true sense of using that phrase. And I think if you have to look at what's going to happen in South Africa over the next few days, it is indeed not only historical, but significant in terms of what happens henceforth in terms of our cooperation, expected expansion of Brics. And can you imagine if there was no Brics today? Take away the global geopolitical scenario without a Brics. Who is championing collectively our interest as a global South, our interest as Africa, as a powerful collective? The voice of Brics on the global stage today cannot be ignored. It has firmly arrived, and we have galvanized around us the major part of the global South. You have assembling here over the next few days the largest gathering in recent times of countries of the global South to collectively look at the challenges and the opportunities and work together in partnership in ensuring that we are at the forefront of shaping this new global order. We no longer want to be outliers and marginal to what is happening on the global stage. Brics can provide leadership, and this summit will show that Brics will take a leadership role in terms of creating a more equitable, a more inclusive, a more representative, and a more humane global community.
There we go. The Brics are becoming a formidable force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. Okay, moving on here, we have James K. Phelan. He put this thing out earlier. The court has set a briefing schedule for the SEC's request to file a motion for leave to file an interlocutory appeal. This does not mean an interlocutory appeal has been authorized. It just means SEC is allowed to request it. And this is the order, and they have to file the motion by the very next day, August 18, which they have. This is James K. Phelan again with the motion that the SEC did file on Friday, the 18th. And they did file it. SEC has filed this motion to certify the interlocutory appeal. And here we have a take from Greg. He's an attorney. He has a very thought out, thoughtful thread. I'm going to read it. It says here, filing for the interlocutory appeal was a huge strategic blunder for the SEC, and I'm not surprised. Okay, win or lose, it fundamentally misunderstands the ruling. Judge Torres did not rule that the sales over exchange can't be investment contracts. She only ruled that the SEC failed to meet its burden of proof that a reasonable retail investor would believe they were relying on Ripple's efforts for profits. The SEC relied on cherry-picked statements from Ripple and select employees but failed to produce evidence of the reach. The SEC didn't produce evidence of a single XRP holder who said he was relying on Ripple to increase the price of XRP. It tried to use expert testimony, but that testimony was excluded. The SEC then tried to rebut John E. Dean's affidavits from the XRP community. So why is the interlocutory appeal a huge strategic mistake for the SEC? Normally, a party appealing a final ruling has a chance to interpret the ruling in a way that is helpful to it, and the court has issued the ruling, doesn't get a chance to explain or clarify. But now, whether Judge Torres certifies the interlocutory appeal or refuses to, she will have the chance to clarify her ruling. She will make it very clear that her decision was only that SEC utterly failed to meet its burden of proof. One important thing non-lawyers might know but not always remember or appreciate is the general rule that no new evidence can be made on appeal and no new legal arguments can be made on appeal either. The SEC is stuck with the record and will have scant evidence to point to an appeal about reasonable retail purchasers. What this means is that when the case does get to the Second Circuit on appeal, Second Circuit might even be inclined to agree with the SEC's underlying theory of the case, but it will be very clear that the Judge Torres' ruling was based on the undisputed factual record, which shows a glaring lack of evidence from the SEC about the understanding of the retail investors it was supposed to care about, but always sought to minimize and found itself adverse to throughout the litigation. As the plaintiff, the SEC loses on a tie. It has to show it was more likely than not that a reasonable retail XRP purchaser was aware of Ripple and relied on Ripple's efforts for profits or its losses. Dean's affidavits by XRP holders to the contrary were answered by the SEC with nothing, and nothing is what the SEC is stuck with on appeal. And that is a really good, thoughtful thread, and I actually agree 100% with Greg, the attorney here. Okay, moving on. Digital Perspective says, we want our day in court. Brad, Chris, and Ripple have made it clear that enough is enough of the SEC running good people's name through the mud. And this is an interview with the Meta lawman, James Murphy. And let me play the video.
Yeah, the development just moments ago is that Judge Torres is going to permit the SEC to file briefs. It's important for people to understand that she has not permitted an interlocutory appeal, but rather this is process. She's allowing the SEC to make their argument in a formal brief of why they think interlocutory appeal is appropriate. I thought Ripple and Garlinghouse and Larson came back very strong yesterday with their own letters explaining why an interlocutory appeal would not be appropriate. Two things, coming out of that were, number one, Ripple said, oh, and by the way, in the unlikely event interlocutory appeal is allowed, we are going to cross appeal on the institutional sales and get that reversed by the Second Circuit. And then I thought Garlinghouse and Larson did a heck of a nice job of saying no stay of the case pending an appeal. If there's an interlocutory appeal, we want our day in court. We are approaching a 3-year anniversary of our reputations being dragged through the mud by the SEC, and we have a right to our day in court. No more delays. We're ready to go. Let's go. I thought it was very powerful.
100% agree with that as well. Okay, moving on to this crypto law, they put out fact check. The SEC is not appealing the fact that the XRP token is not a security. Here it is in black and white from their brief today. And this is the brief that they filed on Friday, August 18, and highlighted in red, it says, and the SEC does not seek appellate review of any holding relating to the fact that the underlying asset here is nothing but computer code with no inherent value. So this has been major FUD going on all over the social media saying that the SEC was appealing the fact whether XRP itself was a security or not, and that is not the case. And here they have it in black and white that is not what they're doing. So thank you for Crypto Law for fact checking all the FUD out there. Okay, moving on. Jeremy Hogan writes, the SEC has been forced to argue that reasonable judges can differ on whether crypto sales on exchanges can be investment contracts. Fair enough. But then how can you still maintain that non-lawyers, Garlinghouse and Larson, intentionally, recklessly broke the law? Exactly. It doesn't make sense. It's an argument that it just falls on flat on its face. It's being, you're basically speaking out of two sides of your mouth. So hopefully the judges see right through that. Okay, shout out to Crypto Aries. She has MasterCard announces today the inaugural set of partners, CBDC platform Ripple, blockchain, and Web3 software company. Consensus, multi-CBDC, tokenized assets, solution provider. Here we have basically MasterCard and all the partners, and Ripple is one of them. Nice to see the partnerships. Okay, the digital asset investor put this thing out. Boris Elegant of Ripple. Retail crypto is what, 1 trillion to 2 trillion right now in market cap. The global financial world, Forex trades $5 trillion a day. Who has regulatory clarity in the US? I think we all know that. XRP, the standard, is the answer. Let me play the video.
I'm with Ripple Labs, and Ripple is a payments software company, or actually a crypto solutions company for businesses, and our flagship product is a payment software called RippleNet, an ODL, which offers payment providers an alternative to SWIFT and then the correspondent banking system. We build all our solutions on top of XRPL, and XRP Ledger is a decentralized blockchain, permissionless, been around for over 10 years. RippleNet today is facilitating over $15 billion a year of payment flow, and using XRP, which was recently deemed not a security by the US courts. A good example of a product is one that actually gets these institutions in there, right? That, retail crypto is what, 1 trillion, 2 trillion right now in market cap? the global financial world, FX trades $5 trillion a day, right? Just to put that into perspective. So we are so early and it's so small that we really need to bring crypto and blockchain to the next level is getting those institutions in. And it's really solving a lot of those issues that they have around compliance. How do you get comfortable as an institution to interact with these assets, with this technology in a way that doesn't get you in trouble?
Well, certainly regulatory clarity would help a lot.
Agree with that 100%. Okay, moving on. Subjective views. Naveen Gupta is a fan of forest fires. Let me play the video.
What about if these financial institutions adopt blockchain? What kind of setbacks are they facing?
Yeah, so let's look at today, right? So in some way you can today think of this forest fire in cryptos, right? And I personally am a fan of forest fires because they essentially enable the ground to get clear and for the weeds to essentially get burnt so that the strong trees can survive. So let's take example of 2001, right? In 2001, pets.com, essentially they did not have a viable business model. They got wiped out. If you look at, for example, Enron, if you look at WorldCom, a lot of frauds came out. And exactly the same thing is happening in the crypto world as well. As the interest rates are rising, the cost of capital is rising. Anybody who was doing leverage trades essentially are getting wiped out, and it could be due to fraud or it could be due to a bad business model. So from my point of view, what we essentially see, institutions which we are building business models for long term, enabled through technology, are then able to move forward. And like Facebook, like Google, they would be the new Web3 companies whom we would look back after 5 years and say, wow, wasn't that great?
Right, that's a good way to put it. So setbacks are important, I guess, to learn and build, but it's just important to grow from there on.
Yeah, and then for the fraudulent and the weak to get wiped out, it's important for them to essentially go away and leave the system so that the better ones can succeed.
I like that you put it as forest fires. I guess crypto winter is a bit like forest fires.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. Digital perspective, the U.S. debt raises by 5.2 billion every day. What could possibly go wrong? What a statistic. Imagine that. U.S. debt raises by $5.2 billion every single day. That cannot be sustainable. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Crypto Airy. The SEC is picking winners and losers. Look at the 59-minute of the conversation. This part stands out with Valerie Hispanic, noticeably stuttering. She currently reports against her was also the senior advisor for digital assets to the speech man Hinman. Let me play the video.
We're trying not to regulate in a way that has picking winners and losers in technology or a certain technology and pushing that. We're trying to be technology neutral to allow the innovation to happen so that there's more than one solution. There's more than one business model. We want to encourage a lot of that kind of activity to take place, and it's not our role to direct how that takes place, as long as it's compliant in terms of, what is the winning technology if there is one. So,
okay, what a complete liar. They're not trying to pick winners or losers, but that's exactly what they did by giving the E3 pass and at the same time shitting on Ripple, the company, and the XRP token. So very much not being truthful there. Okay, moving on. Shout out to the digital asset investor again, and XRP Darren. In case you guys didn't know, which I didn't know either, but apparently there is an XRP ETF. XRP Darren writes, there is an XRP ETF on Switzerland Stock Exchange 6. If you are unaware, 6group.com. And here it is, right there for you all to see. It's nice to see. Okay, moving on. The digital asset investor prediction: the ODL dominoes begin to fall in the U.S. within months. And Lig2 put out the statement: amid legal challenges, RippleNet and ODL's promise remains. Will firms follow Uphill's lead or wait years for clarity? Dive into our chat with John E. Dean and Nick Burfado to unravel the dilemma. Let me play this.
We see a situation where, yes, this legal quagmire continues, but the RippleNet system and the use of ODL can still take place. And the question is, will somebody step out and do it? Or are they going to wait for this to be completely over?
I would advise them to look at Uphold and the advantage that Uphold had by not delisting XRP and looking at their growth, looking at their revenue stream of XRP. And so is there some kind of corporate attorney who's so conservative, he or she is going to say, well, it's best to wait until all appeals are exhausted? Well, you could be waiting 7 years because that would include the Supreme Court. I believe that the smarter ones are going to and take advantage of this law, if you will. I have no doubt it's going to be utilized. Question.
Yep. Hopefully they all start using it one by one. As the IA says, the ODL dominoes begin to fall in the US within months. Hopefully that comes to fruition soon. Okay. Shout out to Ito Farino. He writes, boom, Project Mariana refers to XRP as the international payment medium, connecting Switzerland, Singapore, and the Euro systems together with Bank of France, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and the Swiss national banks for CBDCs. And just right here, it says Project Mariana is the first BIS innovation hub cross-center project, bringing together the Switzerland, Singapore, Euro system centers together with the Bank of France, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and the Swiss National Bank. It's good to see that. Ripple is part of now the big league banks. Okay, here we have eGrag crypto. You guys get ready for the bullish cross. You don't need to be a TA guru to see that whenever the 21 weekly EMA and 100 weekly EMA create a bullish cross, XRP ignites like fire. Digging deeper, this bullish cross emerges following a prolonged tussle with the 21 EMA. XRP army stays steady as you're the upcoming 1%. And according to his charts, looking for a nice spike in price to come soon. Another one from eGrag Crypto says, expert forecast an XRP 28,250,000% pump to $149 based on ASO technical indicator. And this is the article from the Crypto Basic. And here is that article. XRP could rally by 28,250,000 to an ambitious $149 price. Prominent crypto analyst eGrag forecast amid a recent trend of whale accumulation. As it goes on to say, XRP is facing a retracement that has seen it shed most of the gains of July 13. However, experts remain confident in the asset's long-term prospects. One such pundit is eGrag, a notable crypto analyst who holds onto his 28,250,000% price prediction for XRP. This projection builds on his earlier analysis posted on February 25th and underscores his unwavering confidence in the long-term trajectory of XRP. Well, okay, fam, that's going to do it for today's video. If you found this video to be helpful, would you please smash the like and subscribe? I would really appreciate it, and it doesn't cost you anything. Thank you much in advance. In the words of Snoop Dogg, keep your mind on your money, and your money on your mind. Peace out, fam.